I have returned. I should say, I've already recorded 5 episodes for Heart of the Swarm. I'm really crazy into it. And I think there's still, like, at least 3 or 4 Wings of Liberty videos, so I've been playing that series a lot. Unfortunately, as you guys will see, there's a really annoying glitch. I'm so mad that it happened, and I could record the videos, but I don't want to, because one of them I already had to record once, and the second one, and it's happened 3 times, so that's like a couple hours of my time, like at least like 4 hours of my time going through everything. But there's a really annoying glitch that happened in one Heart of the Swarm video and 2 Wings of Liberty ones, where for some reason, I think like the desktop mouse cursor was like somehow became like the prominent cursor. So the in-game cursor doesn't show up at all. And the whole time there's just this little cursor sitting like right in the screen. And it doesn't move. It really, really annoyed me. And it showed up for the second to last Wings of Liberty video and the last one. So the cinematics are super distracting because there's this little cursor there. Really, really upset about that. But I think I solved the issue. I thought I did once already, but then it came back, so I may have not solved it, but I don't know. It's only happened for that game, too, which is a little bit extra annoying. I expected disappointments. Oh, don't say that. New Society is going down. Hope they don't change the story too much for Ultimate Spider-Man or Civil War or something like that. You'll have to tell me what you meant, Red Burning Dragon. Face huggers. There are a lot of guys who like to hug your face in this game. Thank God there aren't just straight up face huggers. I've gone hunting with side because stealing from them. So, here's my awesome StarCraft 2 battle chest. Bought this all back in the day for $20. That's a really good value, actually, because that's like 2 games in one. Well, one game in the expansion pack, so you know what, I'm gonna show off one more thing. I'll be right back. This is Egg Show and Tell Hour. Then this is also something that I'll never get rid of. I've also got Fear, First Encounter Assault Recon case. I now own it on Steam, so that's obviously my primary place to play it, but this is actually probably my favorite horror game of all time. And that's counting Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 is better, I would say at least, because there's so much complexity and polish put into Silent Hill 2. But there's a lot put into this as well, I say for sure. Look, it like opens and you get to see all these images, monsters. It's a cool case. That's also like a 4-disc download, or was, but it only had 1 play disc. And then here is my awesome Riven case from way back when. Oh god, it's shining, so it's a little hard to see. There's a little scarab right there, which is creatures that were used for gathering ink in the game, and anyone who's familiar with Riven, there's Atris falling into the fissure with the with a linking book to Mist. Open it up, show off all the discs and stuff like that. There's this there's a Dunny number for 5, and then anyone who knows Riven is probably familiar with all this stuff, but I like just showing stuff off, a little book thing. And then the 5 discs for the game, because you would need to swap through the discs while playing it. Basically, you'd play through the game, and there's all these islands that you travel through a lot, and it's a puzzle game, for anyone who doesn't know. Very, very complicated puzzle game. One of the most complicated puzzle games of all time, I would say. And the funny thing is, the puzzles aren't hard once you actually... They are, but they're not the hardest part. The hardest part is figuring out what the puzzle actually is. Like, it's not solving the answer that's the hardest part. It's figuring out what the question is. That's the hardest part, at least in my opinion. You'll just like walk around for hours if you haven't played them before and you're not using a guide. But yeah, so like you'll be on one island and you need to go back and forth all over the place to like try to find clues and stuff like that. And every time you go to a new island, the game's like, oh, take out disc 1 and go to like disc 4 or 5 or something like that. It's really funny. It was a really funny thing because the game was had so much information at the time that it needed 5 discs to be able to play it. But yeah, there's all this cool art here. That's like, once again, that's Gen, bad guy from it, casting Atris down into the fissure. Not how it happened, really. Atris actually jumped in. No one's gonna care about this, but you know what? I'm a huge Myst nerd as well. So anyone who's watching Doom 3, who's also a Myst nerd, I don't know. I'm playing Doom 3, and I'm a Myst nerd, so I'm sure there are others out there like that. Then what's happening here is these are all the guilds. There's like Gen looking at us like he's a god, man. Then the 5 guild masters. This is the guild of the builder. It's hard for me to tell backwards because I'm obviously not looking at myself. I'm looking at it in like the XSplit window. I think this is like the guild of like teachers or something. I don't know all the guild names. I know one's the riders, one's like the crafters, I think, and I don't know. As another Let's Player I really like, the Landlow 3000 says, this is the guild of the Tetris players. And then it's like worshipping books, because that's what happens in Myst. Not really, but you know, in Myst 2. Showing Gen as a god, which of course he is not, saying that like he thinks that when he writes books to teleport to, he actually creates the worlds when he's actually linking to existing worlds, and then just another image of Gen as a godly figure with a book behind him. For anyone who has no idea what I'm talking about, Riven is the sequel to Myst. Super, 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 super good game. And what was I going? And basically, in that game, there's linking books that you open up. There's an image of a world inside of it on this little panel. You touch the panel, you get teleported to the world. Gen, who's the main villain of the second game, was a man who thought he developed a god complex because he thought that you create the worlds when you write them, when actually you teleport to existing worlds. And that's why he's like shown as represented as such a god figure there, because that's what he thinks of himself, because he's a big old jabroni. Hey, Nemesis, he's just chilling up there waiting for us. What a silly guy. I like that a lot. Okay, we're actually gonna stop one more time to catch up. Hello, White Negzil. I have never played or beaten Nightmare Mode in this game. This is my first time playing Doom 3 ever. So, very, very new to this. The new Spider-Man movies. Okay, yeah. Well, the thing is, you were saying that you hope that they stay true to Spider-Man. I hope that they stay true to Spider-Man as well. I just hope that they do something unique and new with it, you know? Because one of the biggest things about Amazing Spider-Man 2 that really, really annoyed me after I first saw it, and like I said before, when I first saw Amazing Spider-Man 2, I thought it was, like, meh. But then I grew to, like, really kind of hate it afterwards. So, like I was saying, this is a complaint that I had when I was, like, at my highest opinion level for that movie, was Gwen Stacy's death, you know? Because I thought it would be very interesting if they kept her alive. Mainly because one of my biggest complaints about that series is that I feel like they have way too many characters. So, the writing is, like, really... Oh, God. Like, the characters are relatively shallow, especially, like, the villains, like Electro and Rhino. Unbelievably shallow. And I feel like a part of that is because they did what Spider-Man 3 did. They cluster it with way too many characters. So they have to introduce all these people and no one gets any actual depth to them. At least in my opinion. And so I really wanted them to actually keep Gwen Stacy alive, because that would be new, that would be a twist, that wouldn't be expected by people who have read the comics. And then they had really good chemistry between each other, so then that could go on in the future, rather than having to start over brand new and have him build a relationship with Mary Jane. Because they were gonna bring Mary Jane into the new one. They were going to bring Mary Jane into Sinister Six. They were originally, and I say that because they were originally planning to have her in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but they had to remove her because there were too many characters. So, I don't know, Basically what I'm saying there is, I wish that Gwen Stacy didn't die, and it looked like she wasn't going to, because she was dropped twice in that movie. She fell, then Peter Parker, grabbed her, or Spider-Man grabbed her, but then she fell again, and that's when the neck snapping thing happened. So there was a moment when watching the movie when I was like, oh, they're gonna change it. It's gonna be different. This'll be interesting. But then, no, they just went through with it fully. It was basically just a slap in the face for anyone who was like, oh, she survived. This is interesting. At least that's how I took it. Probably taking it a little bit too harshly. But like I said, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so... Oh, hello there, buddy old... He even attacks like Nemesis. Like, I'm pretty sure Nemesis, like, runs like that and, like, does this weird jump when he throws his tentacle at you like that. So basically, summing up why I went on that little tangent is because I wanted to stay true to the comics. I wanted to be accurate, and all, but I also, I do, probably even more so than it being the same, is I want some things to be different, because I want something new and exciting. I don't just want a rehash of what I've seen before. Unless it's like a major big story. Like if they were going to do Spider Island or Big Time, or some of the other, like, major, Spider-Man events, then I would actually love to see just a straight-up recreation, because then that's something different, you know? That's what I really actually love about the modern-day, Marvel stories, because now more than ever, they're doing comic book stories. At least in my opinion. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure now more than ever. Because we got Age of Ultron. Well, is Age of Ultron a comic? I actually forget. But we have Civil War, we had Days of Future Past, we had the Captain America one, Winter Soldier. I really like the comic book, comic to movie adaptations. I think that's a really cool way to handle things. I do also like unique stories though, so I don't want the unique stories to stop. Like I was actually just saying before, I really don't want the unique stories to stop. Sometimes those are the best ones. So, let's continue moving on. Like a big example, I would say, of a change, from like a comic book story done right would be Days of Future Past, because that was the comic taken and turned into a movie, but it was very different from the comic. I haven't read the comic myself, but from what I understand, I think the only real similarities was like the basic plot. And besides that, they weren't really similar at all. Oops. I thought you had to activate that thing. I thought I had to turn it on like I always do, so... Oh, we got zombies! Hello, zombie. Whoa, that's a lot of zombie dudes. We should probably... Ow! What a douche. Stop biting my butt! Oh god, no, it's Nemesis! He's doing much worse! He was sticking a tentacle up my big ol' butt! That is a bad time for everyone. Except for Nemesis. He was probably pretty happy with it, but you know, I wasn't. That's what matters most. It's all about mutual conceit on both sides. Or consent. Oh my god, yeah, that's Nemesis with a machine gun. As long as it's not Nemesis with a rocket launcher, I'll be relatively okay. Oh god, it's a chain gun too. That means we should get some chain gun ammo here though, so that'll be the positive. Just die! In the words of Austin Powers, why won't you die? Oh no! Die! Okay, good. If we get like super... He did a little flip there, that was really funny. But classic traditional thing with enemies in this game, if we get all in their face, then they don't seem to be too much of a problem. Lag! Oh no, that's unfortunate. I don't think lag is happening on my time. Oh god. Yes, you are right. You are actually right. We are dropping a lot of frames. Which is funny because the stream looks okay now. Here, I'll wait here. You guys tell me if we're still getting lag. Maybe I'll move back and forth. Oh, wait. Yeah. It's still saying we're dropping a lot of frames. So it looks perfectly fine on my screen, but you guys will have to tell me if we're still dropping frames. Is disappointed from Hercules movie yells disappointed looked on YouTube. Hercules disappointed. Hercules is disappointed. I don't know, she might have hit her head really hard on the cement floor, but I think she broke her neck, because that's how it happens in the comics. I could actually grab the comic book, because I have the comic book here. Basically what happens is Green Goblin throws her off of the bridge. A bridge? I imagine there's multiple bridges in New York. I don't know which one it is. But, throws her off her bridge. Spider-Man tries to grab her with his, web to save her life. Instead, he actually ends up accidentally killing her. She will have died from the fall, almost certainly, but I'm sure there's other things he could have done. Like, maybe if he dropped himself and tried to, like, be super thin, maybe he would have gone faster than her, then he could have done his parachute thing and been okay. Maybe, as we see in Dying Wish, which is the story where Doc Ock becomes Spider-Man, and then leads to Superior Spider-Man. He actually creates like a web like net or kind of like fluffy like pillow platform, like what stunt doubles do when they like jump off of a big thing. They land in this big kind of like fun house, you know? I don't know. I'm horrible at describing things that I don't really. That I'm not really familiar with. So Peter Parker possibly could have made like a platform for her to land on that would have been soft and she wouldn't have died. But basically he grabbed her and the whiplash of being stopped from falling that quickly snapped her neck and she died instantly. Super, super sad. Fine now. Okay, cool. So let's continue moving onwards then.